Hi, everybody, and welcome to Metaphysical Insights. I'm your host, William Becker, and today I'm excited. We're having part two of um, the conversation my special guest, John Blackburn, and I um, started at the last show. So, John, I want to welcome you back. It's great to have you here, and I know. Oh, there's going to be lots to talk about, but part of it is what happened after the show last time and your plans with David and such going from here. And so, everybody, I want to just give a quick, if you haven't been here, I know John well, he's the real deal. I know lots of people who have examined the painting and all the rest of it. So, pay attention, even if it sounds kind of strange at times. It's the real deal. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, good evening, William, and good evening to everybody who's out there. Yeah, quite an interesting night last time we spoke. Because what actually happened is the room I'm in now, believe it or not, this is George's room. This is George, the cat's room.
Aha.
It's the only cat that I know who's got his own room. But anyway, I don't keep David in here. I keep David on the wall downstairs in the living room. And on that night, because we'd just finished, I left David up here for a while. Well, in actual fact, I left him here all night, and I thought I'd sort it out the next day, but being late.
hmm
I was in bed, and I heard a loud bang. Now, don't ask me why I didn't get up and investigate, because I didn't. I just thought that Maxine, my partner, she dropped something or she knocked something over. So I just went back to sleep. And the next day, David, you can see behind me here. I don't know if I should show you if I can. It's a bit of a spare room, if you know what I mean. But you see over there where that wardrobe is, just in the background.
Right.
The painting was propped against the wardrobe, so it was on one side, propped against the wardrobe. Now, the thing is, William, you saw me before when I was trying to get everything straight before we started. You
Right.
saw how heavy it was.
Yeah.
And George is about 12-year-old now, 12-year-old
Yeah.
cat. And when he comes in here, he just goes to sleep. And he isn't
Right.
strong enough to knock the painting over. And there's nothing in here that would have done that.
No.
So, in my opinion, because I've seen what David's done before, David was quite interested in what we were talking about, and he knocked the painting over. So it shows what we're doing is working.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I love it. I'm hearing that there's a little bit of echo coming from you. I'm
There
wondering
is.
if there's something we could adjust.
Yeah.
I don't know. I am not tech savvy. So thanks, Eric, for that. Anyway, sorry, John.
Yeah, no problem. So it was quite an interesting night. When I got up the next day, I knew that George hadn't done it. I knew it was impossible for it to fall over on its own.
Yeah.
So it was interesting, to say the least.
No, was it on the easel at the time, or just sitting on? I mean, had you taken it off the easel and laid? So yeah,
It was
there's no way it couldn't have slid down the side or anything
no,
else that way.
it was on the easel as you see it now.
Uh-huh.
And if I'll tell you what, I'll just show you. Let me just show you the floor here. You
Okay.
see how sturdy that easel is? It's quite, laminate away there, aren't it? But it's quite a sturdy easel. Yeah?
Oh yeah.
And it'll take a lot, as you can see, for that to go over.
Right. Oh
You
no,
know.
that's
So
a
yeah,
heavy duty one.
heavy duty one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no way that George had knocked it over, and I knew that George would be asleep anyway, which he probably was.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. I love it when um the beings that we're talking about that are around give us some positive response and let us know that they hear us and see us, or that respond.
Yeah, it's interesting because what we're trying to achieve, me, you, what we're trying to achieve, it's going to be good if we can get these results.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because
go ahead.
Sorry, there's going to be me, you, and Viv, which we'll talk about later.
Okay.
But it'd be interesting, won't it?
It will be, very much so. Yeah, I was just going to give you the introduction or the question about kind of where the next steps are, or what's happening, and I'll basically shut up and let you talk.
Yeah, the next steps are, I've been going down the road for years, really, trying to give David as much energy as I can do, and I've explained that before, so I'm not going to bore everybody with that, really. And I've done that on events. Because he's hungry, he's constantly wanting the energy all the time. But I've noticed the last time I used David, he'd been dormant for 2 years, and yet he was still very active on the night.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have anybody else apart from me and you talking last interview. And then that amazing thing happened where he pushed over the easel.
Right.
The only amazing thing that didn't happen is that it scratched the wall whilst we were doing it.
Yeah.
Because we didn't paint this room not so long ago, so it's got a big scratch down it now.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, I think the plan going forward really is I want to do things slightly differently. And what I want to do is I'm looking at spiritualist churches. So if there's anybody in spiritualist churches out there listening tonight, it's your lucky night, really, if you consider it that way. Is I want to take David to spiritual churches, give people a chance to see him, give people a chance to feel him and see what they can get from him.
Okay.
But also, he'll be getting the energy there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can start that process going, in the meantime, me, you, and Viv can do what we're doing. And it'll be best in what we get after the event, really, after we've spoken.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to see what you get and Vivian gets. Over time, as the energy's building, as I'm taking David to spiritualist churches and different talks and things like that, it'll be interesting to see what you get from David in these sessions that we're going to arrange.
That would be fascinating. And I wish I could be at some of them in person too, not just doing the remote piece.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think this is going to be a fascinating project. And the spiritualist churches, you're going to get all kinds of interesting energy there too.
Yeah, indeed.
I mean, I have limited experience, but I've spoken at some. I've known several people who attend or have attended it in the past, and I hear a lot. And like any kind of an organization, you get a variety of people with a variety of motivations and personalities and interests, but they all are also working on that more metaphysical piece and the mediumship psychic piece. So I think more people that are able to consciously project more energy and who also aren't as blocked from allowing just whatever they're experiencing go out, subconsciously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it will be interesting, won't it? But what one of your guests just said, I might have a speaker on, but I've just checked and I can't see any speaker on, so I think we just have to put up with it. I'm afraid it's echo that's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
So I apologise. Yeah, it will be interesting to, like you say, because a lot of people who go to these spiritualist churches, are gifted anyway.
Right.
Yep. So based on that, it'd be interesting what they get. It'll be interesting the energy that they give.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be interesting what you and Viv get.
Right.
But also, it's not a selfish thing like we spoke about before. Is that anybody listening, if they want to take part in these sessions, which are going to be called the Pentamental sessions, then just send us a Facebook message or like a message of some kind to let us know that you want to take part, and we'll let people take part in the sessions. Fairly, really, not the same person all the time, but choose different people.
Right. Now, are you going to do any kind of screening on the people? Make sure that they're actually real people, not a troll or something, and the intent is pretty honorable, or just allow whatever happens.
I think, unfortunately, you got to do a little bit of screening, I suppose, but I mean, not over the top.
Okay.
But it's got, at the end of the day, and I'm not being rude saying this, and anybody listening, please don't think that I'm being rude, because I'm not, but I'm just being straight to the point. It's got to be about David at the end of the day.
Right.
It's not a place to promote yourself. It's not a place for your own agenda. The only agenda that we've got is David, who's behind me, because he's got a story to tell. And why not let him tell that story? And if you want to be part of that, then you're more than welcome. That's what we say, isn't it, William?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And I agree. It's unfortunate we have to do the kind of search, but humans are humans, and those are some of the issues that have always been around.
Yeah.
So how is this process going to start in working with the churches and all the rest of it? How?
Well, there's already one church I've got in mind, actually, because, before lockdown, which kind of disrupted everybody, really, didn't it?
Right.
I had it all organised then. This was a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, things have happened since then, and it's kind of put me back a bit as well, to be honest with you.
Right.
There's an excellent spiritualist church just down the road, and I know that she will jump onto this straight away. So that's the first one I've got.
Great.
And what I'm offering, I know that a lot of spiritualist churches will take it on. The reason being, not because I'm saying that what I'm doing is anything good, but what I'm going to do is also any money's taken from the night when I do a talk and we allow people to interact with David, then any money, they charge about £3 per person. It's not a lot of money, but to a spiritualist church it is, because it keeps it going. So that money can just go to the spiritualist church. It's not about money for me. It's about helping David, and it's about finding out what's going on more with David, really.
Yeah.
On whatever means I can do that, then I'll do that. This is kind of a lifetime thing for me. I've been doing it that long.
Right.
And the connection's that close that it's a lifetime project, if that's a word.
Right. Yeah. It's a commitment. It's more than a job.
Yeah.
It's their personalities involved.
Yeah. If you listen to part one, I won't bore you with it again, but the connection was that close over the years, that it's a friendship. Some people, it might sound stupid, and I apologize if I do sound stupid, but I can't put it any other way, because that's the way it was. It was such a close connection. It was like I said before, when we were parted, it was like being parted from a twin. So the feelings and the emotions in that was just unbelievable, which affected me for a long time.
Right.
So I'm not going to sell David short by doing anything wrong.
Right. Remind me later and offline, but when you were talking and like a twin, I was thinking about past lives.
Yes.
And whether or not you've shared them. And if you're willing at some point, I would be happy to do a reading for you and see if we can find a connection that way.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I don't want to do it live over the air, and this isn't the time. But I think it would be interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. Did you read that then?
I did. And what's even more interesting is today when you first flashed the first glance, just for a few reasons, because there are a lot of differences in here, especially the eyes, but also around the chin and the cheeks. But I had a flash of something similar to that, like, oh, you guys could be related or something. I mean, there was some characteristics. Maybe it was the way the lighting was with the color and all the rest of it, because I don't see the similarity nearly as much as I did just as you were moving the picture and putting him in place.
I remember last time we spoke, I said that it'd be interesting to see what people felt themselves whilst watching this. And I think that's important again tonight, because it'd be interesting to see what people thought whilst watching this. And I did say, did you want me to tell you what I found out about David over the years? I don't know whether you want me to do that or not, or whether you want people who's not met David before, if they want to say what they think.
Let's give them a few minutes. I know we can't do an overlong show this time, and so let's give them a few minutes to put in. We don't usually get a lot of live views. We get so many of them after the fact.
Yeah.
But people comment then, and we can still, go back and look at those comments. But let's give them a few minutes to write in with what they see, and then maybe have you go with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, some of this is going to be new, Cliff.
Yeah, a quick recap then. Basically, you've probably seen on the internet, you search on the internet, the Anguished Man, you'll find a lot of information about that, and some of it's related to myself. And the reason being is because I worked with the Anguished Man for 3.5 years. I was asked by the owner, Sean Robinson, to find out information. And I did that in various means. And I said to Sean, in order to learn things about the painting, to find you more information, I need to work with it. And I thought I was going to work with it for two weeks, and then ended up being 3.5 years. We found out various. Some of it, which I'm not going to mention now until you've had a think about it, and see what you can pick up from David behind. The interesting thing, when I reported back to John about what I found out, he could confirm some of it was true. Well, not some of it, a lot of it, actually.
Okay.
Which was pretty mind-blowing. And totally interesting. So this is why I don't want to say too much. If you guests who are listening tonight, maybe want to tune in a little bit, see what they can find out.
Right.
At some point after the 3.5 years, and I don't mind being completely truthful about this, somebody called me a fraud who was working with me for a while. He was doing videoing because he thought it was a good idea at the time. I thought it was a good time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Sean that I was a fraud, and he had footage to prove that I was a fraud. So I said to Sean, if you have got footage, then show it, because I want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But Sean didn't. The guy who accused me of a fraud, when Sean took the paint back, the angry man, this guy, who I shan't mention his name, he then started to try and work with the paint, which is a bit of a coincidence.
Yeah.
So that kind of destroyed me for about 12 months. It really did. I was like grieving for 12 months. I was that close. The connection was that close to the paint. I was grieving for that long. I would say about a year and a half later, Maxine, my partner, said you need to pull yourself together and start doing things. I organised an event. A good friend called Bill Smith brought a Ouija board on the event that I organised. Now, he knows, Bill, that I don't want a Ouija board because every man and his dog uses Ouija boards and I won't.
Right.
For different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And on that night, I went to bed. After about 2 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock, I think it was, I went to bed. I had to do the drive the next day. Well, the same morning. And Maxine, lady called Cheryl, Bill, and Bill's wife, they stayed up, went on to the Ouija board, and straight away, and went to DAVID and spelled out David. And he spelled out miss me, and he wanted to work with me. So ever since then, after that, he was attached to the Ouija board for a while. And then after that happened, after being in a little shell of me where I didn't want to get involved in anything, I thought to myself, I'm not being called a fraud when I'm not.
Right.
And I did interviews, I did some in the States, over Skype interviews and on Facebook and different things. And I said I was going to do a process of karmic transmigration. And that's at that time, the canvas behind me was blank. It was just white.
Mm-hmm.
And we connected the painting to the Ouija board in a place called Cook's Court. There's a little haunted cafe. And the cellar is amazing. So we did it in the cellar. And we transferred the energy of David. I know it sounds mad. Anybody's listening, but we transferred the energy of David to the canvas, and the actual canvas on the easel started.
Right.
That's how we knew it transferred, and then it got stronger and stronger to this day.
Yeah.
I'm still working with him, and this is how many years later? God, about 7 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been going on for
right.
It's been about what, just over 10 years, probably.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it was 2017 when I first met you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been.
Mm.
So, people out there, do any of you have anything that you're picking up that you want to put in down there at the chat? Now that you've heard a little bit, because we'll go ahead and have John tell what the developments and stuff are here quickly. Of I do these things live, so I don't want a lot of dead air on my part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, I'm not getting seeing anybody give an indication that they're going to do that. So go ahead.
So you want me to tell you what I found out?
Okay, yeah.
The story is absolutely amazing. It really is. And this is why I want to keep it quiet for a little while and give people a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And to fill in the story that I didn't give before, for the reason for this part 2, is that we kept getting Bergen-Belsen from the painting. We kept getting Bergen-Belsen all the time. And I said to Sean, I rang him up, because I used to ring him up and then we'd chat about it, things that I found out. And I said to Sean, I said, does Bergen-Belsen mean anything to you? And he stopped, and he went quiet. And he said, actually, it does. And his grandmother, who gave him the painting, knew somebody, well, knew 3 people, I think it was, if I remember rightly, that went to Bergen-Belsen. Now, if you know your history, Bergen-Belsen was a German detention camp. They were very, very cool. And it was a processing centre for being sent to Auschwitz. When me and John had a fallout when this guy called me that I was a fraud, I remember this word for word. Sean said to me that you're wrong about Bergen-Belsen. He said he didn't go to Bergen-Belsen. He said, I found out that a distant cousin came forward and told him that the artist was in Auschwitz. And the interesting thing is, if I was wrong about Bergen-Belsen, I wasn't that far wrong, because it was a detention camp for Auschwitz.
Right.
But he did say that the name wasn't David. The name was something else. I didn't know what the name. But I've never claimed that the entity attached to the painting is the original artist. I've never claimed that. If you remember from the original interview, what I said was that David came along and was suppressing the dark side.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Now, what the dark side is, I don't know, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be interesting to find out. And it'd be interesting to find out more from David, because I know David's got a story to tell.
Right.
And it'd be interesting to find a story. Not only is it interesting, I think it's something that David wants to deliver. This is what I feel strongly.
Right. That makes sense. I'm trying to... I wouldn't be surprised if David knew that original entity attached to the original painting, or with the original painting, and they probably wound up in the same place. I'm not getting a strong psychic picture of this, but I have a strong feeling about this.
Yeah.
And it could be they met in the holding camp, the transfer camp for Auschwitz.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very possible that these people were there first on the way. It's possible they weren't, but I don't know. It's something to allow to formate a little bit in the brain.
The thing is, if you look at the Anguished Man, the painting itself, you can see that the artist who painted it was disturbed in some way. I don't mean mentally disturbed. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying that is it's been disturbed with life, let's say. And Sean didn't know anything about the painting until I came along. I'm not saying that I'm the big I am. What I'm saying is that's the information I got from David. And when you look at it, when you look at the Anguished Man, you can imagine after being told the information about Auschwitz, you can imagine the Anguished Man it's the name, isn't it, for one? And for another, if you look at the picture itself, you can see the anguish.
Right.
You can see that he was very disturbed in the place that he was. And when you spent time in Auschwitz, you spent time in Bergen-Belsen, because
right.
I believe he must have spent time in Bergen-Belsen, because it was like I say, it was a holding camp, and it got moved on from there.
Right.
So I don't believe that was wrong. But like I say, if I was wrong, I wasn't far wrong.
Right.
I just got somebody saying then that they just looked at the painting. So I'd be interested who said that. I didn't catch your name.
Okay.
Yeah, I quite agree. Just saying that will always paint my. It was Cliff. Cliff, what's your thoughts about looking at the anguished man? Would you say, Cliff, that is what I just said regarding the painting? The look of it, his experience, bad things in his past.
Yeah, and I haven't looked at that one for quite a long time myself, but it leaves quite an impression.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Here he goes.
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of pain. I agree with you, Cliff.
Yeah. Exactly. Trying to live through that period in Germany or in Europe as a whole, I can't imagine. Well, I can't imagine what it's like with all the other wars we've got going on now too. But
yeah,
those were such total annihilation, destruction in so many places, along with the other horrors. I can't imagine the spiritual scars that would be left. A lot of people, including those that came later, a little bit born after the actual violence, but
yeah,
that has to linger.
Just whilst we're talking now, the energy I'm getting from David now is particularly strong. I know I can't prove this, can I? But my tummy is tingling like mad at the moment.
Okay.
And I can feel a lot of heat behind me at the moment.
Okay. His left eye, the tan colored, the flesh colored part of his face, the left eye is a little more intense than usual too.
Yeah. And if I put my hand there, which is always the case, I can feel a cool spot there where his mouth is.
Okay.
In the past, when I've done events, I've asked him to breathe on people's hands, and he has done.
Wow.
And you can feel that slight breath now. That's when I know he's getting stronger.
Right. That's fantastic.
So it shows talking about what we're talking about, and and tuning in. It makes it. I can feel the difference.
Yeah. Part of my concern is what kind of pain listening to all this might cause him. But I also think that he does want the story told along with the pain. So I don't know.
All right. Did you read that? It looked like his expression changed a couple of times. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right, Eric. Well, thank you, David. I think I don't get anything that he wants. If he didn't want to hear these stories, he wouldn't be responding like this.
Yeah.
He would not respond at all, I would think. Because the response is part of what I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I'm assuming that the response is part of why you know you're on the right track doing this, and with the conversation and the stories and what he wants to tell and all that piece. If he didn't want to hear it, I think he'd just sit there quietly and hope you went away.
Yeah.
He also wouldn't have written that he wanted to keep working with you.
Yeah. Yeah, strange times, William. There were strange times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Strange times that changed my life, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating. Do you think it's changed your life for the better, or just change, or for the worse?
I can't answer that. I don't know, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm kind of just going with the flow.
Right. And it may have been an unfair question. If it was, I apologize.
No, it's okay.
It just popped into my mind. Because this certainly takes you down a different road. You haven't had any more problems with people calling a fraud or anything, have you?
No.
Good.
The reason, well, I think the reason being because everybody's been on the events. They've seen what I've seen. They've experienced what I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've never done anything on my own. It's always been done with other people. The only difference with what we're doing now, I suppose, is that we're doing it over StreamYard. Me, Vivian Powell. But what I was going to say is, which I forgot to mention, I did mention it last time. I've got to get a night vision webcam for when we do these sessions. And after we've done the session, because of what's happened with the painting, when we did the last session, and it'll be interesting tonight, actually, what happens tonight.
Yeah, definitely let me know if anything happens.
Yes, I will do. And I didn't take any photographs of what happened because, for one, I didn't think quick enough, and for another, well, I could have placed it there anyway, couldn't I suppose, and then took a photograph. So you'll have to take my word on it. But it's like I've said before, you know, if you tell lies, you're cheating yourself, aren't you, really?
Exactly. Well, and, you know, Vivian and I talked, because she was real excited about the last program and all the rest of it. And I think she's off exploring World War II bomber wrecks today. But she and another of her colleagues, they went all over the painting when you did it. They watched, and there weren't any strings, there weren't any remote controls, there wasn't anything that could have been made to manipulate the painting.
No. Oh, sorry, William. Go on, I'll let you finish.
And they did this as soon as you were finished, and I think also even before. I'd have to double check that, but there's no way that you could have, or anybody else could have, taken down or disconnected any kind of an apparatus that could have somehow manipulated the painting and the easel.
Yeah. Well, like you say, it's there for you to see, isn't it? But there's something I'm going to show you now, actually.
Okay. Great.
I remember when we got pulled over by the police. Oh, yes. Me too, Steve. That's another story.
Yeah, that sounds...
I'll tell you about it now before I actually turn this round. Me and Steve was coming back from an event, and we had the painting in the back of the car, and they got pulled over by the police. And the policeman said to me, he says, "What's in the back of the car?" And I thought, what do I say here now? And I said, "Well, it's a haunted painting." And he said, Right. It says, well, on your way then. I don't think you knew what to say, but yeah, thanks, Stephen. It's nice to speak to you. What I'm going to do is, before Steve just sort of took me down memory lane, then I'm going to turn the painting around. The reason being, because I want to show you something, and I'll explain it as I do it.
Okay.
And take these earphones out. Just one second. Okay. Right. This is something I don't actually show often, but I thought I'd show it to you now. You see these copper plates?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no electronic device there or anything like that. Basically, these are linked with the side of the painting. All the side of the painting is copper.
Mm-hmm.
So, based on what I knew about the anguished man, like you know yourself, you know where the energy points are.
Right.
Yeah, I knew I knew everything about the painting.
Right.
Regarding the energy points. And I covered the bases. You know, if I wanted David to work in his painting, I had to get the conditions right.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see, it's really a circuit. Yeah, you've got the
Right.
copper plates here, and these are connected via copper to the side of the painting. So it's a conductor. It was always strong, these energy points where this is, so I had to replicate. When we did the karmic transmigration, I had to replicate what I knew where the energy points were, if that makes sense.
Right, it does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then that copper band going all the way around, you basically have the energy flowing in all directions.
Exactly, yeah.
And so if you actually put an electric circuit on it, it would flip breakers and do all kinds of weird stuff, probably, because you don't have the directional flow, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one of the things that I'm going to do is when we're going to do the pentamental sessions that we're talking about with me, you, and Vivian,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to connect myself to the painting.
Right.
I know it's something that you're probably a bit funny about, due to what you've said before in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we've got to push boundaries, really, haven't we?
We do. And Vivian and I can do an awful lot, even if we're a long ways away, if it looks like there's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I work and see with him too, I'm beginning to get a little bit more clarity between where David starts and the anguished man leaves off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's easy to put the two of them into two sides of one being.
Mm.
But I don't think that's accurate. I think you're right. But doing a reading with it, sometimes it's easy for both energies to come together, like from one being instead of two beings, but the two sides. And I'm not changing what I have said before, but I think, if nothing else, the benevolent side is getting stronger.
Mm.
And the part that does not want to do any harm and is actually quite a good being, or is stronger than the part that I've had concerns about.
Yeah. I was listening to you then, William. Don't think I wasn't. But my hands are numb. My hands are actually numb now. Now I've turned the painting around. The energy here is immense.
Yeah.
The whole room is filled with it. So tonight will be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how George is going to sleep in here tonight.
You may wake up to find George down in the lounge or someplace.
Like that, yeah. Do you
But
want me to turn
that's
the painting
something.
around?
Pardon me?
Do you want me to turn the painting around again?
Whatever you feel comfortable with. But people also notice, that painting is secured at the top. The bottoms of easels are grooved and such. So it would take a lot for it to even fall off the easel on its own,
It's very
let
heavy.
alone have the easel tip over or anything else.
It's quite when you're lifting it all together.
Yeah, and a cat's not going to just it's not a loose painting. They'd have to unscrew the top and all the rest of it. So just a reminder for people that this all seems to be David.
I'll just say what I'm getting at the moment. There's a woman involved in this. God, that's so strong at the moment there. I've not really related to this before, but there's a woman related with David, and that part of the sadness. And I see her as being blonde-haired lady, quite long blonde hair. I'm trying not to relate to what I know, so it's taken over my mind, but I do see her as being quite gaunt.
Okay.
She's missed a number of meals in the past. The cheekbone quite sunken in, not down to malnutrition.
Right. She younger or older?
Young at the time. If I was to guess for an age, looking at her, I would say 20s.
Okay.
Mid-20s. And that's interesting. I've not picked that up before.
Right. That is. I'm not getting a clear picture whether she was in the camps. It doesn't feel quite like it, or if she was food was short. Because people starved a lot during the war. And she could have even been from Central or Eastern Europe.
Are you getting this connection as well then?
Yeah. And I think I see her later too, with shorter hair, kind of wavy. Not super old, but older. Which indicates she survived. It seems like her at two different ages. I'm not going to say it isn't a relative of hers, but it seems like her.
Yeah.
And I see countryside outside, bent down, moving, trying not to be seen. And it could be just simply life close to the front lines and on the Eastern Front, I think.
Mine, I was touching my neck. Did you see me touching my neck? I've not had that feeling for a long time. When your hairs are sticking up in the back of your neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, do you think what I'm saying makes sense at all, or?
Yeah. It's just the only strong thing I got was the woman's description, really, to be honest. Not what you got then, but The woman's description.
Okay. And there's so many things. I mean, it could be things come through a little muddled, but it's, yeah, I see like out trying to find something to dig out of the ground to eat. Is there a potato or a rutabaga or something left? And it's getting cold.
I'm not getting a relationship. I'm getting a sister.
That wouldn't surprise me. Because there were a couple of different possibilities, but sister was kind of in the background a lot. But definitely a relative, a close relative.
Daffodils as well.
Okay.
She's shown me daffodils. What that means, I don't know, but she's shown me daffodils.
I wonder if they're on a grave. I'm getting a sense of a grave, like putting daffodils on a grave. I wonder if it's David's. I'm not getting it's anything strong enough to say that's exactly right and what's going on, but it seems like she's laying them down on the earth in something that's earth that's a bit mounded and is fairly freshly dug. It could be another family member.
I've lost the connection now, really, but that's what I've got.
Okay. I think it's fascinating. I really do. I'm looking forward to doing more exploring. This is fantastic.
Good.
Yeah. And it'd be nice if we could find a way to get some historical validation of what we're picking up. I mean, no matter how right we think we are, it's difficult to say this is absolutely true without some kind of a documentation. Cliff Jones has also asked, has anybody ever picked up any voices via EPP while near the painting?
Yes, we have, which I explained last time, actually. We've got a device which is right up there called a germanium receptor. And the germanium receptor was a device that came about from a skull experiment. An amazing guy called Robin Foy. And the actual design for the germanium receptor came from Thomas Edison. You know, in spirit. I can't go into it, it's a long story.
Right.
So I've got that device. It's not the actual device. It's one that I've built myself with a friend of mine who's an engineer. And it's not a replica of the original germanium receptor, but it works the same way. So I used it, as I said on the last interview, where I connected it directly to David on the side, you know, where the copper is on the side. And there was a lady called Karen Ford there, David Ford, and other people were there. And we had a voice recorder right next to the speaker on the germanium receptor. And we were asking David to move the painting, and he was really, really trying. You know, the painting was rocking. And what we noticed, unfortunately, afterwards, what I actually did on this occasion, and I kicked myself for doing it, is I usually put a red light so we can see what the painter's doing. But because I wanted to focus on the EVP and nothing else, I'll put the lights off. Okay. and the painting was going berserk. And he was trying to turn it, and he couldn't because of the carpet stopping the leg.
Right.
And interestingly enough, I'll have to send it to you. There's an EVP recording on the voice recorder, which was against the speaker of the Jermaine receptor. And the voice said, when Karen and myself said, "Can you move the painting, Dave?" He said, "I'm really, really trying." And that was so clear.
Right.
And he was really, really trying. The leg was stuck on the carpet. And I kicked myself for not having the light on, but I wanted to just focus on the EVP and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Where I've never done that before. I've never had the lights fully off. But you make mistakes, don't you?
Yeah, it's a learning process all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the EVP was brilliant, amazing.
Yeah. It'd be interesting too with different wavelengths of light. With the red light, with some, but also the purple violet wavelengths are different things that might attract or create different energy.
You see, in a way, the whole purpose, where you're coming from now, William, the whole purpose of the Pentamental sessions is to try things that we've not tried.
Right.
You know? And also, by all means, if anybody's got any suggestions, then just let us know. It's not selfishly about us. You know, if you want to take part, then please do.
Right.
You know, we're just out to find out more information about David.
Yeah. And you can, I mean, John and I are both on Facebook. And you can also, through Simply Spooky Network, send a message. I'll have this up on my YouTube channel as well later, and as well as it'll be up on the Simply Spooky Network or Facebook page.
Yeah.
And I'll put out links faster than I did last time. Let's see, here's one.
It's calmed down a bit now. The energy is still strong.
Okay.
Steve is asking about when we're doing Cook's Corner again. I'm not too sure, Steve, to be honest. There's a couple of things in the way of that. But that was one of the places that I was going to do some experiments with David.
Okay.
Steve, who just Steve Walker, who went to Cook's Corner many times with me.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll agree, Steve. It's an amazing place in the cellar. We've got a full seance table down there with chairs around it, and we've got all sorts there. It's really interesting. And if I'm in a position to take David down, I will do. But there's a couple of things against it at the moment, so you know I've got to see what happens.
Okay.
The design of the copper back paint, how it was laid reminds me of something I've seen before, maybe a Tesla. Right. Okay. Yeah, I've not tried that. I've not tried to. You mean here, connect from here? No, I've not tried that. Yeah, so it's something I could try. That's easy to do. That's not a problem. We can try that. Like I said, I'm open to suggestions, so we can try that. Because, like I say, the whole thing's a circuit. The only reason why I did originally is because, like I said, I knew where the energy field was, and I wanted to divert those to the sides. But I'm saying that, you know, the whole thing's surrounded by copper anyway, so it doesn't matter if you put energy in the middle or not. It's still going to be around the painting. So yeah, I think it's a good suggestion, and we'll try that.
Yeah. Excellent. We're coming up real close on an hour, and I know you're crunched for time tonight. We can't go over like we did last time. Do you have anything else that you want to put out there or add before we close?
Not really. I mean, has anybody got any last minute questions before we go? And you know, by all means, I'll stay behind and just answer your questions. But the Pentamental sessions, when me, Viv, and William do get them going, I just need to sort of organise a few things first. But when we get them going, it's something to watch because it's going to be very interesting. And like I say, you'll be part of it. Those who are watching will be part of it.
Yeah.
Robert's saying that he just noticed I put my hand in the middle. Yeah, I did, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I do often put my hand in the middle. I get a lot of energy.
Yeah. Yeah, because you were doing that on the other side as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Stay tuned for links. I've spread it out all over social media for watching it on Simply Spooky or my YouTube, or you've already got the Simply Spooky Facebook page. You can just go to it. And John, especially, thank you so much. This has been fascinating as always, and I'm thrilled and honored to be a small part in all of this. So thank you.
I'm thrilled and honoured that you and Viv are part of it as well, because I do think a lot about you both. You know that, and because we're that close, we can make a good connection.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Eric. So good. Well, thank you, everybody. Again, I'm going to not linger and sign us off. So take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.